Hello all, Namaskar. Again, this is Durga Prasad Adhikary with you. Again, a deep apology that I have not been very sincere with this videos and all since last 2 to 3 days because I had some personal engagements. However, now I am back, and today is the very auspicious Guru Purnami, and Guru Purnami is a very auspicious day because Guru is a term that is widespread across all cultures, all traditions, because the term is teacher. And teacher is a thing that you will find across all religions, all cultures, all spectrums of life, because without teacher, there is nothing in the world. And in fact, it is said that the mother is the first teacher also. So basically, on this very auspicious day, I thought, why not share a very beautiful and very life-changing excerpt from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is purely for educational purpose. There is no religious connotation attached anywhere to it. I'm just telling it so that you can use it for your answers. Basically, this will be used for enriching your ethics and essay answers, and you will feel quite good about it because they are very life-changing anecdotes, analogies, and if you can use that in your answers, it will definitely make your answers much more finer, sharper, and very good. So let us not waste time and let us delve deep into the topic. So here the context of this thing is the king Yadu was once venturing into the forest, and he was quite thoughtful about what is that thing which is ultimately true, which is the source of truth, and how do we attain it. And therein he comes across Avdhut. Avdhut means the perfect yogis, and he is widely identified as Dattatreya. And Dattatreya answers him that by the Guru you can get the ultimate truth. And he says that I have 24 gurus with me. And the examples that he gives of the 24 gurus are nothing apart from the nature. He says this world itself is the best guru that you can have. And if you will observe everything in the world, you will get some teaching, some lessons from everyone else. And if you can apply those in your life, you will be very successful and you will be able to know the ultimate truth, or you will be happier in your life. So basically, I am telling you all those 24 gurus, and I will also tell you in what all cases of civil servants, in the experience of civil servants, we can use all these things, and you will be able to use them in your essay and ethics. I will also compare them with the civil services ethics. So the number first guru that Avadhut tells to Yadu is earth. He says that earth is the epitome of tolerance. Earth supports all without any discrimination. It accepts and supports all without any discrimination. It does not, it never rejects anyone. And it says that no matter what you do, you may corrode the earth, you may dig the earth, you may plow the earth, but earth is always tolerant is and very much compassionate. And that's why it is the mother, the Ma we say. The first thing that he learns from the guru is his first guru is earth, from which he learns the values of tolerance and what? Non-discrimination. So for the civil servants also, if you are in the post of civil servant, you must be non-discriminatory and you must be tolerant for many things. So this is something you can find parallels with the civil servants, because as civil servant you will meet with many people. Some are elite, some are poor, some are very destitute. So you must not discriminate between any one of them, and you must treat them as equal and accept them as equal. And you should tolerate them, because many times you will come across very illiterate people who might not be able to express their problems properly. Here you have to adhere to the qualities of earth and listen to them very patiently, so that you will be a very able civil servant who can understand the mind of his subjects. The number two guru, the second guru that Avdut says that is air. He says the wind, the air. He makes wind as the second guru. He says that just as the air blows over good things and bad things, it might blow over a fragrant place, and it also might blow over a place which emits very foul odors. But the air is not affected by it. The air is pristine. For some moment of time it may smell foul, but at the end the air is pristine. Air has its own qualities and it is not affected by the goodness or badness of the thing. In a similar way, one should also not be affected by the happiness and pains of the journey. One must remain steadfast. As civil services also, you must not deviate or take biasness or take sides towards any party. You must always be neutral. Just as air is always neutral, you must also be neutral like the air. The number third thing that Avadhut says is his guru, is space or the sky. You must have observed that the space or the sky, it pervades all. It is all encompassing. It is present everywhere. Sky would not be the perfect word, it would be space. It is pervades everywhere and it is there everywhere. In a similar way, for civil servants, we must see that the values of humanity, that the value that each human has its own dignified human existence. You must see that the spirit of humanity is there in each and every being. The spirit of life is there in each and every being. That's why you must pay absolute respect and dignity towards dealing with any of the subject. This will make you humble. Just like if you will observe that the space pervades everything, for civil servants, for us civil servants, the aspirants of civil servants, the humanity pervades everything. And this is what you can quote in your ethics and essay answers. The fourth guru that Avdhut says is fire. Whatever you put it in fire, maybe it a good thing or bad thing, it makes everything pure. Especially in the Hindu religion, fire is considered to be the sign of purity. You may put a very good thing or you may put bad thing, and it ultimately turns everything into ash. So civil servants must also be like the fire. He must be pure enough that whoever comes in contact with him, maybe a good guy or maybe a bad guy, he must be inspired by him. Such must be his ethical integrity and aptitude that anyone who comes in contact with him will be inspired by him. He will be able to arouse that flame of virtue and humanity in his life. That we must learn from the fire. The fifth guru that that Avdhut says is sun. Just as you have observed that in different vessels, the shadow of the same sun appears differently. In similar manner, wherever you go, Avdhut says that the whole world is also the reflection of the same ultimate supreme being. But for civil servants, it must be like wherever you go, you must adapt to those conditions. Just as the sun adapts to the different vessels in which its shadow comes, you must adapt to different situations so that you will be able administrator. You must not say that I will not go to this place or that place because that place is very backward or something. You must adapt yourself to different places, and this is what you must learn from sun. Then the sixth guru that Avdhut says is pigeon. There is a story that once there were small pigeon, small baby pigeons who were there, and a hunter caught them. The mother pigeon came and she saw that her babies are in trouble. So he joins and to save the her child. But at the end, what happens? The hunter takes the mother pigeon also and he captures them. What Avdhut wants to say that too much attachment many times leads to destruction. But however, mother did his job and that is what she should have done. But interpret it in a philosophical way. Too much attachment towards anything will lead you to destruction. Too much possessiveness towards anything, it will lead you to destruction. So for a civil servant, it is said that too much attachment to money, to power, to greed, to status will lead to your downfall. Be humble, stay true to yourself. And this is what we must learn from pigeon. Then the next example that he says is of python. You must have observed that the python never moves here and there. It will stay there until the prey comes to it. It will not go in search for prey like the other snakes. So in similar way, Avdhut says that one must stay true to himself and must not run after material wealth. In a similar way, a civil servant must also control himself, so that he will not run after the material wealth. Because once greed sets in, you are bound to get destroyed. So, like a python, we must accept whatever comes to us in material terms. I am telling, in material terms, we must accept whatever comes to us and not move here and there to get all those material wealth. Then the eighth guru that Avdhut says is sea. Just as if you have observed that when it is raining very heavily, there might be many rivers who are over flooded, they will merge with the sea. But the sea never crosses its limit. Just because of addition of many rivers, the sea level does not rise very high at a time, or it does not go very below the level if the rivers are dried in the summer. In a similar way, a civil servant also, in a similar way, a person also should not cross its limit. It must stay steadfast in all the situations. For a civil servant also, he must not be swayed by all the emotional things. He must not cross its limit. He must stay within the limits. Many times pain will come, many times pleasure will come. But at all the point of time, he must maintain his concentration and focus that his ultimate journey, his ultimate goal is to serve the downtrodden, to the destitute, and to serve the nation. There is another thing that we can learn from the sea, that you must have observed that the sea hides all its treasures in the seabed. And you cannot know what depth is of the sea. In a similar manner, everyone who is aspiring to be a civil servant or to be a normal, a good person, he must also live a very simple living but high thinking. Your thoughts must be very deep and very high. It should not be shallow. It must be like the sea. You must care for everyone else. That is, we can learn from the sea. The ninth guru is moth. You must have seen that in Diwalis and all those times when we light fire, many insects will come and jump in it. In similar way, running after material wealth, many a times, not always, many a times, and if you are having excessive greed, it will lead you to destruction. Again, the same example for civil servants. We must not act like moths. Rather, we must control ourselves. Because being like moth, if you will run after money, if you will run after corruption, at the end we are going to get burned in that fire. If you want to burn yourself in the fire, burn yourself in the fire of knowledge, which will cleanse yourself, which will cleanse all your ignorance, which will lead you to the path of truth and ethical life. Then the 10th guru is elephant. The hunters, what they used to do to trap an elephant, they will make a wooden she elephant. To capture a he elephant, they will make a wooden she elephant. And what they will do, they will place it near a deep pit, so that the male elephant will get attracted by the female elephant, and due to the lust, it will come to it and will ultimately get trapped. The thing that we must learn here, that we must control our sexual desires or lust. Many times when we are in the higher echelons of power, there are many cases of sexual exploitations. A civil servant or a normal person as such should control his lust or all those things. I was very shocked to learn a case of Ruchika Grihotra. You might also read about that. And there are many other sexual exploitation cases that we have seen that are happening when the people go to higher echelons of power. So elephant must be our guru, that if you are attracted towards sexual desires, you might ultimately go to abyss. Then the 11th guru is the honey collector. Why honey collector? You must have seen that the bees make every effort, honeybees, they make every effort, they take immense pain, they go here and there to collect the honey and they place it in their honeycomb. But at the end, what happens? That the honey collector drives away all the bees and takes the honey with it. So the thing is that the lesson that we can learn from here is that if you are already very much engrossed in collecting all the material wealth and storing it without giving it to anyone, without giving it to charity and all, there might be a time which will come when you will be deprived from it. Just as a honey collector drives away all the honeybees and takes the honey itself. In a similar way, if I being a civil servant will engross myself in getting into corruption and amassing all the wealth, and one point of time I will die, what will happen to that wealth? So all your effort, all your time, all your energy must always be concentrated on making yourself a greater being. Don't concentrate yourself on amassing the wealth or keeping or storing the wealth. Rather, you must make yourself available to make yourself a better personality. Then the 12th guru is fish. You must have seen that while fishing, the fisherman, what does he do? He puts a food in the hook of the fishing bow and he keeps it down. The fish, out of greed for the food, comes to the hook, bites it, and he gets trapped. In a similar way, running after the material wealth, it might sound repeated, but yes, this is a very good example. In a similar way, if you are running after wealth, there are chances that you will be trapped. And we have seen that all the vigilance cases, they happen, they are caught red-handed just because they are running after the greed. So in a similar way, you must not also uh, go more into greed. Then the next example, the next guru, the 13th guru is Pingala. In Hindi they call him Ganika. In English word it would be somewhere like prostitute. There was a prostitute named Pingala who used to wait for Acharya Thulibhadra at one night on a night, and Acharya did not come, and she was so grief stricken that she said that if I would have invested such amount of time to knowing myself, I would have been a greater thing rather than waiting for that Acharya, rather than waiting for anyone else. So the lesson one we must learn from here, that we must always strive to invest time on ourselves. We must always strive to know ourselves more rather than knowing others better. Rather than being dependent on the others, be independent for yourself. Then the 14th lesson that we can know is from an arrow maker. An arrow maker was once making an arrow, and the king's procession passed by it. Later, a person asked that whether you observed the king's procession. The arrow maker said that I did not observe. I was so engrossed in my work, I was so busy in my work that I could not know that the king even passed by my side. This is the level of dedication, determination, and focus that we must bring to our work, be it any work, be it our preparation journey, that we must be so engrossed in our work that we will not give a focus on distractions. And this is the key. You must have observed that while Madame Curie, the Nobel laureate Madame Curie, while she was studying, once her siblings put 3 to 4 chairs on her, and she was quite oblivious. She was so engrossed in the learning that she could not know that there were 3 to 4 chairs above her. And when she finished her study and she stood up, the chairs fell down. This is the level of focus, dedication that we must bring in our work, and a civil servant must bring focus and dedication of such level so that he can serve the masses properly. The next lesson that he learns is from a child. Childs are bereft of any feelings. They don't have any feeling like you and me. No prejudice. This is mine, this is yours. They don't have any such feeling. Just as a child is not affected by you and me, this is good, that is bad. For a civil servant must also be always be non-biased or neutral in its perspective. He must not be biased or to delving or tilting side towards anything. Rather, he must enjoy everything as and when it comes. And he must give all his due attention to that thing, whether it is good or bad or all those things. But he must be ethical in the way and legal as well. The next lesson that one can learn is from Moon. This is his 16th guru. Why Moon? You must have seen Moon. Isn't it such a beautiful thing? The thing that we observe in Moon, that there are phases when the moon grows bigger and bigger, that is the waxing. And there is a phase when the moon diminishes in size, that is the waning. Such is, can't we find a parlance in our life as well? There are some moments wherever we are very pleased, wherever we are very happy. And there are some moments wherever we are very sad. Just like the moon grows bigger and comes smaller, and then Purnima to Amavasya to Purnima and all those things, full moon to new moon to full moon. In similar way, in our life also, there are various phases of happiness and pleasure, but however, the moon does not change. In a similar manner, the pain and pleasures of our life must not change our ethical values, must not change our principles, must not change our leanings or the ideologies that are meant for the welfare of the people. That is it, what we must learn from moon. And in another way, moon also reflects sun. In a similar way, as a civil servant, we must always try to reflect what? The constitutional values. This is what we can learn from the moon. The next lesson is from honeybee. This is 17th guru. Why honeybee? Because a honeybee roams from here to there, different flowers, and it takes the honey without harming the flower. This is very important. He takes the honey without harming the flowers. And in a similar way, we must also be like the honeybee. We must gather knowledge from different sources and we must make a meaningful knowledge out of it. And we must not indulge ourselves in all the, what you say, object pleasures. Just as a honeybee takes what it wants without destroying the flower or enjoying any other thing, in similar way, I must take all those things that are necessary for me without getting engrossed in all those things and getting distracted. This is the journey. Many times, many aspirants ask me that how do we avoid distraction? Be like a honeybee. Take what you want. Take the charge of your time. Don't get distracted by here and there things. Be like a honeybee. Make honeybee your guru and you will be very successful. Then the 18th guru is deer. You must be knowing that deer is lured by music. If you want to catch a deer, you must play some music. And by the music, the deer gets attracted and is lured into it. So many times, desires lead to slavery. When you desire a lot of things, it will ultimately lead you to slavery, isn't it? I may need some money, and that is for unnecessary thing. I will ask someone else. I might not be able to pay it. And what ultimately I became? I became a slave. That's it. This is what a civil servant must know. Because many times, many say the pay of the civil servants are not lucrative. They are not very good. But that does not mean that you will desire more and more, which is beyond your paying level. Because if you are gratifying yourself, which is beyond your paying level, you are becoming a slave to someone else, the one who will give you money. So this is a civil servant, what it must learn from deer. The 19th guru is eagle. Once an eagle was flying with a mouse. Other eagles saw it and they came and they tried to pounce on that mouse, which led to a fight between all the eagles. In a similar way, in this material world, going after many material wealth will lead to fight between ourselves. The resource is limited. We must have seen many a times. The resource is limited. So a civil servant must be detached to all the material things which are not his own. Because if you will try to get something which is not your own, there are many other people who will also try to get that thing, and ultimately it will lead to sanghars or fight. So that's why a civil servant must be capable and must be aware enough to avoid all such things. The 20th guru is a Bengal, a maiden. What happened? There is a story to it. There was a girl who was alone in her house, and some guests came. And when the guests came, he tried to do some dishes for them, so as to some delicious dishes for them, and he tried to crush the wheat or rice so that he can make a dish. So while he was trying to crush the wheat or rice, the bangles that she wore in her hand, they clicked with each other and that made sound. So as to avoid the disturbance to the visitors, what she did, she removed all the bangles from her hand except one. He kept only one bangle in each of her hand. What would we learn from it? That the presence of two bangles or more than two bangles will lead to noise. The presence of one bengal does not lead to noise. In a similar way, if a civil servant is facing some issues wherein he needs to very critical decision and he wants to be unaffected, he must go to a place of solitude wherein he can listen to his own noise. Because if there are two persons or three persons, they will try to make a noise and you might not be able to take proper decision. You might take consultations, but while taking a decision, it must be based on your own logic, your own thinking, and whenever there are two or more persons, then their sounds will act as a noise to you and it might distract you. It is in fact the same case while we are trying to prepare for civil services as well. Whenever we are trying to see that we are focusing, there are other bangles to us like Facebook, like Instagram, like Twitter. And once they are there, it makes noise. So remove all those bangles. Keep one bangle with you, and that is the bangle of dedication, hard work, and courage. And with that, we can succeed in this journey. The next guru, the 21st guru, is serpent. The serpent never lives in a single place, it moves here and there. And in a similar way, that's why it is called Aniket. Niket means house. Aniket. In a similar way, A yogi must always be Aniket. For civil servants, the lesson that we can learn is that just as a serpent has no home, we must not also fear transfers. Because the moment you fear transfers, the moment you make your mind that I will stay only at this place, it will make you a very inefficient officer if you are posted to a place where you are not interested. Or if you want to maintain the same place, you will indulge into corruption. You will indulge into bootlicking of the powerful people, of the ministers, of the political masters, which indirectly means you are compromising on your values of constitutionalism. So, in a similar way, a civil servant must also have the values of being aniket. I am not taking care where you are posting me. Wherever I will go, I will do my duty very efficiently. The next lesson that Avdhut learns is from a spider. Just as a spider creates his own web, moves in it, and at the end engulfs it, in a similar way, this world is made out of that supreme self or the energy or something else. The lesson that we can learn here can also be relevant in our mental health. What? Many times the problems are very small, but we make it very large. Why? We tend to overthink it. Our mind is like a spider. It makes the problem. It makes us to invest our time in it. And once we are distracted into other fields, it engulfs them. Don't allow the spider of your mind to make unnecessary problems in your head. Take charge of yourself. The 23rd guru is of caterpillar. You must have seen that the wasp, after giving birth to the caterpillar, it takes the caterpillar to one place and a cocoon is built around it, and the wasp makes a buzzing sound. The caterpillar is so tensed, or the caterpillar is so engrossed in the buzzing sound of the wasp, that it ultimately becomes the wasp itself. In a similar way, and it is also said, is the man is all what he thinks all the day. In a similar way, the caterpillar thought of the wasp and he became the wasp. In a similar way, we must always think of the very positive and ethical values for our welfare, what we can do for the people, the welfare of the people, and all those things in such a way that their welfare can happen. In a similar way, a civil servant must have only a single focus or attention, that is the welfare of the people. And the last guru, the most beautiful guru, is water, 24th guru. You must have seen water supports all and nurtures everyone without any discrimination. And the most important value of the water is that it occupies the lowest place. In a similar way, a learned person, or in fact a bureaucrat, must not be too arrogant. He must be so humble that he will occupy the lowest place. He must not think that I am the boss. It's either my way or highway. He must be so humble, so down to earth, so approachable, that he must think himself as a servant of the people. Because at the end, this is civil service. What we are aspiring is to become a servant. So at the end, what we must learn from the water is, just as water being the ultimate material of surviving for the every living being, yet it occupies the most lowest place. A civil servant also being the Aadhar or the support of all the people of his district or area or anything, he must always be so humble and approachable that anyone can approach him. Namanti gunina janaha namanti phalinam vriksha. That means the tree that has the highest number of fruits bends the most, and the person who is more wise enough is always bends the most. So be that person. So these are the 24 gurus that Avdhut had, and in fact this is what we all learn. In fact, there are many anecdotes. You can see there are 24 anecdotes. You can use them in your essay, in your ethics, to substantiate. Just as water, you can say, just as air has no boundaries, let my thoughts have no boundaries. Similar way, you can say in social media, in all those things. So this is what we can learn. If you will apply them very powerfully in your essay or ethics, your marks will be higher. And as this is Guru Purnima, I will try to add some more values, a bit of slokas. If you can use them in some of your essays or answers or anything, it is good. So what is Guru? It is Advaitaraka Upanishad which says that Gu means darkness, and Ru means the one who dispels it, the light that dispels the darkness. So Guru is that person who dispels the darkness. And so what again is darkness? Darkness is ignorance. So what again is light? Light is knowledge. This is what is Guru. There another Guru, Bhavasagar Tarana Karana hai, Ravinandana Bandhana Khandana hai, Saranagata Kinkara Bhitamane, Gurudeva Dayakara Deenajad. Bhavasagar means this is the ocean of Bhava, the ocean of Samsara. The one who saves us from this ocean is Guru. Ravinandan is Yam. We know that the Yam gives us punishment at the end in Hindu mythology. The one who frees us from the Yam is Guru. Saranagata Kinkar Bhitman, accept me as a very fearful a person who is very afraid and grant me your discipleship. So this is a Guru. Then again there is another definition. Ajnana timirandhasya jnananjana salakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. In this world of darkness, you are the one who can open my eyes to the light of the world, and you indeed are my Guru. So these are very different places of Guru. So now my question to you is, who is not your Guru? The whole purpose of telling that there are 24 Gurus and the Guru is everything, you can see that everyone you see, everything you encounter, every person you follow is your Guru. It might be a grain of sand that is walking on you, that is there on your path, and it might be the mighty tree that you are seeing. Everything is your Guru, because you learn everything from something from everything, and that indeed is the spirit of being a good human being. Try to be a good human being. Human being is given. Officer is also being given many times. Officer is also given, but try to be a good officer. Try to be a good human being. This world has a lot of people. Try to be a person who can serve the world, who can think of others as their own. And that is what I wanted to say. So if you will observe that everyone here is your Guru, he might be lesser than you in your age or greater than you in your age. You will be grateful to everything. And once you are grateful to everything, you understand the value of others. And once you understand the value of others, you can respect them. And once you respect them, the world becomes a very beautiful place. And that's it, what I wanted to say. So again, happy Guru Purnima. Be grateful to everyone whom you have ever interacted with. And I am wishing you all a happy Guru Purnima. You all have taught me something and many things. So I am very grateful to you. And that's all what I wanted to say. Thank you. Namaskar. Have a good night. And please try to see where all you can use this example. That's all what I wanted to say. Namaste. Thank you. Good night. Ending the live session.